Hello everybody, and just here, and welcome back to Symphogear AXZ episode 7? No, wait, no. What's 7? That's not 7. That's episode 6, because last time we saw episode 5, so today it is episode 6 indeed. First, we're going to start with a little bit of housekeeping, I guess, as I'm desk keeping. New camera, you probably noticed that it's changed. It's smooth 60 FPS. It's Elgato Facecam, purchased thanks to you guys' support on Patreon. So your support has a tangible effect on the quality of the channel, as you can see. I also fiddled around with the sound settings, so it might sound different, might sound better, might sound worse. Let me know. And let me also know about the camera, because I'm still fine-tuning all the settings. Do you like how it looks? Should I change it? Maybe it's overexposed, maybe it's oversaturated, maybe it's undersaturated or underexposed, or I don't know. Whatever your opinion is on how it looks, please do share, because it's gonna help me create the best quality videos that I could possibly create. Anything else? No, I think that does it for housekeeping. One cool thing about having a good and proper camera is that I can use my phone as a stream deck, essentially, so that I no longer have to use my numeric keyboard. I'm not gonna be doing any mistakes of, pressing the buttons accidentally, because I have it here, right in front of me. But enough about that. Let's talk about Symphogear, and there is things to talk about. Oh boy, there is things to talk about. First things first. I think the most important thing in the whole previous episode was that setting off on the search, quote unquote, for good and proper linker. Right? We've been without linker for a long while, and although Kirika, Shirabe, and Maria can fight without linker somehow, it's not advised. Because first and foremost, it lowers their power output. They probably won't be able to use Ignite without linker. And second of all, it's just plain dangerous to them, and they shouldn't be doing that. We still had some stockpile before, but that stockpile is no longer there. So that's causing issues. And with our main team, so to speak, also being... maybe not being completely shut down, but their Ignite was taken from them. It's still not clear if it's been taken permanently, or is it just that our alchemists have the ability to just turn off the Ignite, just like that, at any time they want. Either scenario is bad, honestly, so it doesn't make much difference. But yeah, either scenario is also fixable, so it doesn't make much difference. Both situations are equally as bad and as good, as recoverable as well. So it's not, all drama and tragedy, so to speak. So we set off on that search. It's dangerous to Maria, because the secret to how the linker works is apparently inside of her brain somehow. From the discussion, from the talk we had with Elf9, I inferred that the reason why Maria is so compatible with Ergetlam and has that blue glow and stuff is because it's Ergetlam who redirects or reroutes her energy, or does some other alchemy scientific mumbo jumbo, or symphoscientific, I guess you could say. So why does she need to enter Maria's brain? I don't know exactly, but we do know the effects of it. We did get into Maria's brain, we did get into her memories, we learned a little bit more about her childhood, about her time at the Institute, about Mame not being the best mother she could possibly have been, and then a black hole appears, sucks Maria and Elf9 in, and who's there waiting for them in Maria's subconsciousness? Of course it's Ver. Of course it's Dr. Ver. Who else would it be? Who else if not the greatest hero of this world's history and the greatest villain, the greatest man alive, Dr. Ver himself. I'm glad he returns. I wonder to what degree is he gonna be like, oh, I'm not actually Dr. Ver, I'm just Dr. Ver's remnants inside of Maria's brain. Or is it like Ver now just lives inside of Maria's head and she's gonna have some, discussions with him, essentially kind of a split personality. I would love that, honestly. As bad as it sounds, I would even like for Ver to take over Maria's body in like some super tense, important situation in combat. And make it a Chekhov's gun, essentially. They are, fighting, and Maria is knocked unconscious, and she's out of the battle. But then, since Maria's consciousness is not there, Ver steps up and helps them win the fight in Maria's body. That's kind of gross if you think about it. That would also be kind of a cool moment. What else? Adam, from on the side of the alchemists, set off somewhere with his autoscorer. What do they want to do? Where are they going? We don't know exactly. I think it has something to do with the mention of that autoscorer, that this place is going to be a great place to fight God. Does Adam have some godly ambitions? Does he want to become a deity? Is he perhaps a reincarnation of the biblical Adam who wants to take revenge on God, or something along those lines? Anything is possible. We haven't had particularly much information besides vague mentions of deities, of godly powers, of attaining what do they call it? Attaining godly powers. I'm not gonna look for that word. So probably, possibly, maybe, are they talking about God? Are they talking about custodian God? Are they talking about some other minor deity? I don't know, some Sumerian gods or something along those lines. We don't know that. When are we gonna learn about it? That's also anybody's guess. Although with today's episode we're gonna be on the halfway point through the season, so perhaps today we're gonna learn a little bit more. We might get access to Linker today, at least. What else is going to happen? Hard to tell. Right, the previous episode ended with some new creature being released upon Japan by the alchemists, and it probably also has some godly armor thingamajig that the snake from early in the season had, and they're gonna try to, perfect those creations until they can create an artificial god. If that was the case, I would love it. I love the concept of god making, of artificial deities. I fucking love Blue Archive because of Decagrammaton. If you haven't played Blue Archive, it's an amazing game. It has an amazing story. You wouldn't think that a game with cute high school girls with guns would have story this deep. The gameplay is take it or leave it. I mostly just auto through the stages, unless they are hard stages, then you actually have to play, but the story and the implications of some unknown people trying to create artificial mechanical gods, it's mind-blowing, and I love that. I love the concept of egregores growing into deities, all kinds of shit like that. Just feed it to me directly, throw an IV into my vein, and feed me artificial gods. I love it. So if we go in that direction, thumbs up. If we're going in a different direction, also thumbs up. I have trust that they're gonna do something cool, something unique with whatever they're going for. I've been rambling for a long while, almost 10 minutes, so how about we finally just start watching it, right? Oh, no, not gonna use the keyboard, I'm gonna use this, there we go. Oh, now I have to use the keyboard to reset the timer. Subs, you're gonna need them to follow along. Sound, I'm gonna need it to hear what's going on. And support the channel if you if you will, monetarily. Patreon throne links in the description, or not, by sharing my content, spreading the word, which is completely free but helps the channel a lot. And with all of that out of the way, we can start watching episode 6. Episode 6 indeed, of Symphogear AXZ in 3, 2, 1, go. Yep, their flying fortress. Science versus magic yet again. The conflict of science versus magic. The scientific side is rejecting the magic. Meanwhile, the magical side is embracing the science. That's cool. Twining's Lady Grey, if you're wondering. But yeah, I think I get what they're going for here. On like a very, not meta level, but on like a kind of base level that isn't even directly referenced. It is magic versus technology. And has it been that way? No, not really. It started with the not with the FIS. Both sides were using magic. I think it started with Carol. That concept of magic versus technology, kinda sorta. Magic being Symphogear here, and alchemy being the technology. Symphogears being based on the heart, on the song of your emotions, and other vague magical concepts like that. Meanwhile, alchemy being based on the understanding, the analysis, the cold, like, data. I think that was the beginning of it. And soon enough, we see that the magical side embraces that technology. They're like, okay, sure, the song in our hearts, yada yada, but what if we could, you know, stick a probe into the heart and see what makes it tick, right? And maybe get something out of it. What if we could understand the magic? Meanwhile, the technological side, the scientific side, is rejecting the magic as something impure, imperfect. Only understanding is what can get us along. I mean, it's an accurate perception. I'm gonna give her that. But is it gonna help you find out the linker recipe? If it's not Ver, but rather his apparition. Let's just ask him. Indeed. Ver being a spectral guide throughout Maria's subconscious. Doesn't get better than that, does it? Which song was it by Helveti that had in the lyrics, I, the spectral guide? I think it was Quoth the Raven? I think it might have been Quoth the Raven. I think I'm gonna have to move my lights somewhere further so the light scatters a bit more. I mean, yeah, facing them without ignite sounds like a good idea. I was about to ask, question is, can they just destroy your ignite part? Or is it that they can strip off a layer? So without ignite, you just have the layer of Symphogear and they can strip that out. But I don't think it's the case. They can interfere with ignite, because ignite is an alchemical thing, and they possess the power of the Philosopher's Stone. So they have control of anything alchemical. Yeah, the Hydra. Now show me, do you know the Hydra myth? Or are you gonna start chopping off the heads? I always love Hibiki's over-designed fists. With jet engines and spinning things. Megadeth Infinity. And did it actually achieve something? We now have 3 new Hydras to defeat. So they don't know the Hydra myth. Nobody ever knows the Hydra myth. Nobody ever. In the history of media, I have not seen anybody face off against a Hydra-looking creature and be like, oh, that's a Hydra, it can probably regenerate. Never. Now, to be fair, they spend more time saving the world than learning at school, so I guess that explains things. And I love the stance that Chris always takes when she rides on something. She stands on top of a boat, on top of a rocket, doesn't matter, she always does this stance. I love it. It crumbles? Interesting. Are Hibiki's attacks actually effective against it and stop the regeneration? Okay, 2 more heads, or 2 more whole Hydras. You shouldn't have done that then, if you know about it. If you thought it's the case, why risk it? And that's gonna create more of them. So only Hibiki has been successful at actually damaging one. Interesting. Why would it be? Is she a chosen one? Somehow, I don't know how, but is she? We haven't had any indication of Hibiki being a particularly chosen one. I love the stereo effect. I've always been a sucker for stereo in my anime. Elf9, reach for her hand now. Grab her hand. Unprotected hand holding is the only thing that can save the situation right now. Also, I love how they're setting up, since like the previous season even, they've been setting up Maria and Elf9 as that pair of characters that can help each other, you know, mentally. Maria helps Elf9, Elf9 helps Maria. Both are better for their friendship. And is it gonna be split into more? Maybe not. Okay, so is there a point where they can no longer regenerate or something? Because I'd expect them being blown to smithereens would create like thousands more. Okay, that explains things. Now everybody's tired though, so they have to face off against regular noise, and eventually probably also against the alchemists. Weaken our heroes first, then jump into battle and finish the job. And we're probably gonna see Kirika, Maria, and Shirabe jump in and save the day as a parallel and an inversion of what happened in the previous season, where it was Maria, Kirika, and Shirabe in trouble, and the others jumped in to help them at the last moment. Yep. Okay, so at least Maria is on a good track. We're hearing about Symphogear compatibility. And Elf9 arrived here first? Maria and Serena. And Faceless. Yeah. Gentle, faceless scientist. In contrast to Mame. Ooh, I love what they did with the subs here. They didn't switch, they just... Cool. Great job, typesetter. Ah, if I only remember the bad parts about Mom, then her death hurts less. Essentially. Because if I remember the happy, tender moments, then their loss will hurt. Already without an eye. So after the incident with Serena, and those words hurt her as well. Is this guy gonna be relevant somehow? Also, now that I think about it, has it been mentioned anywhere, anywhen, why is there no male Symphogear users? Acceptance, understanding. Arguable. Maria 2.0. So literally the desire to protect is what drives the link with Symphogear. The stronger your desire to help, to protect, the higher rate of synchronization you have. That's why Hibiki is so incredibly compatible, while some people might not be. But that makes me think, how synced up is Miku? If caring about people is a measure of how good you are with Symphogear, what about Miku? Are we gonna see Miku become like a all-powerful Symphogear user? Like fucking Madoka levels. Wouldn't surprise me. Okay, they know what to go after. No demo. Go save your wife. There's no demos, Hibiki. Oh, Linker. Did Elf9 complete Linker now? This fast? Or are they fighting without Linker? Everybody's getting a hench in this episode. Oh, and she uses the yo-yo to create, to almost summon parts of her armor. We haven't seen her henshin yet, have we? No, we haven't. I love the addition of yo-yos to her repertoire. The Basso Twin Tails are cool and all, but giving her some, you know, hand-based weapon. The subs in their window! Ah, I love it. Subs on their screen. Again, great job, typesetter. Yep. Yep. I guess that's also why Kirika and Shirabe work best when they're together. Their power output is higher than the sum of the parts, right? Because Kirika's love for Shirabe powers her up, and Shirabe's love for Kirika powers her up, and both end up powered up. Nah, he's a great hero. They're not using their Faust robes yet. That was a great face. For a split frame, but it was a great face. Time to use their Alka gear. The power of hand-holding compels you. Ooh, the rainbows. Rainbows usually only happen when they're using their, like, swan songs and X Drive. That's when rainbows happen. Okay. Guess they no longer have their VTOL thing. And the trigger stars. Here. Right behind you. Nothing personal, kid. Are you sure about that? Completely extinguished. Whomst? No, we're 6 versus 3. What about Lydian, though? Or did they take down all of the noise that was headed there? Probably. Yes! Talk! Please! I fucking beg of you! Talk! Don't be like Carol. Okay. We're getting more out of her than we did get out of Carol. And? Okay. I mean, I guess we got something out of them. New ending? That sounds like Sumerian. Or Sumerian-ish. Babylonian. Or a made-up language that's supposed to sound like those. The A with an accent didn't work there. Typesetter. Thumbs down for that. I wonder if there's a translation to that. Or is what they're singing here essentially "Oui oui hon hon baguette" as trying to speak French? Mustol Rosen fine elsis. After credits? Nope, nothing after credits. Interesting. Interesting that we got this kind of an ending. That signifies something significant happening. I mean, it is significant. We now know the actual full goal of our villains. I am kind of apprehensive calling them villains. Antagonists. At least in their own minds, and if what they're saying is true, that they want to save the world and save humanity, kind of hard to call them villains. Now, they did some heinous shit. No doubt about that, but I think I'm just gonna use the term antagonist. Okay, and what I'm going to do now is watch this again. So let's watch it together, shall we? Okay. If humanity truly wishes to stand as the dominant life form of this planet, it cannot live in subjugation. That's a, like, objectively correct sentiment, right? If humanity wishes to prosper, if humanity wishes to be the dominant life form, it cannot have anything above. Because if humanity has anything above, they're no longer dominant, right? Right now, humans have the noise they have to be afraid of. There are the custodians that we haven't seen or heard much from, but they do exist, and they seemingly use humanity as their workforce or whatever other reasons. I think initially humanity was like, I might be mixing it up with something else. I'm not sure. Been a while since I've seen the first seasons of Symphogear. But isn't the story that the custodians created humans as something to, like, build temples for the custodians and worship them, essentially? Kind of sort of deal? And then they created the noise to keep humanity in check? I vaguely recall something like that. So getting rid of the noise and getting rid of the custodians is the only way humanity can be free and can have, you know, can be the top life form, dominant life form on the planet. So they aren't incorrect in their assessment. Their methods of going about it are, let's just say, not entirely good, to put it lightly. But the goal is noble in one way or another. Kind of situation of, does the end justify the means, right? Where do you put the border, the thin red line? How many people sacrificed in the name of freedom for humanity as a whole is too many? If you could, I don't know, sacrifice people to fix the issues in the world, right? No more famine, no more war, no more starvation. I already said famine. No more illnesses. Everybody lives until 120, right? If you could do that by sacrificing people, how many would you be willing to sacrifice? 100? 10,000? A billion? How many is too many, right? They are killing people in the name of freeing humanity as a whole. A noble goal, as I mentioned. But can you overlook them killing 10 random passerbys? Or do you put the line at 100? Or do you put the line at a city? Or do you put the line at a country's worth, right? Interesting. Or do you put the line at 0? And you just say, no, it's not acceptable. I'd rather humanity continues to strive. We've been doing that for a long while, and so we can continue doing that. We can just keep the status quo, but we're not sacrificing anybody. It seems to be where Hibiki and the gang are going for, essentially. Where your goal doesn't matter, you're doing evil when trying to achieve that goal, so we're going to stop you. We might fuck humanity in the long term, but we're not allowing you to kill a single more person. Yeah, this is an interesting transposition. Is that the correct word to use here? How Saint-Germain says alchemy seeks perfection, right? Alchemy seeks perfection. It cannot fall to the likes of Symphogear. Alchemy is perfect. Symphogear is not. It's bleh. Take your Symphogear away. It stinks up the place, right? Only alchemy. And here we see a direct opposition to that stance. We've been using Symphogear all this time, but hey, this cool new thing called alchemy was just rediscovered, and we can utilize it to help people better, so let's fucking do it. Let's utilize alchemy, why not? Why shouldn't we do that? If aliens arrive onto the Earth and they leave behind some technology, they'd be like, oh, sweet! We can add alien mode to our Symphogears. We're gonna turn into, I don't know, grey, tiny little aliens with plasma guns, and it's gonna be so powerful. We can do that? Hell yeah, let's fucking do it. Let's embrace it. We're not rejecting what we don't know. We embrace it and we try to understand it and we try to incorporate it. I don't want to look too deep into that, but it's kind of a difference in mindsets of people. That's like very commonly seen nowadays. I don't want to like bring real life politics, so I'm gonna be vague about it. But there are people who are like, oh no, you are different, or your opinion is different, or your train of thought is different, so I'm going to reject it. I'm not even going to consider what you have to say. I'm just gonna shut you down. I'm gonna fucking block you on Twitter, and you know what? I'm gonna report you for harassment, or you know, stuff like that. And then you have people who are willing to talk, who are willing to get into dialogue, who are willing to listen. Right? Oh, I'm thinking this way, but you're thinking this way. Let's talk. Maybe you can convince me. You know, actually, I don't agree with all of your points, but some of the points you raise are correct. You are right on those accounts. And they grow as a person because they get to see all those different viewpoints and they get to incorporate them in their own personality, in their own viewpoint. And they evolve as a human. And this is similar to that situation, right? One person, the alchemists, are rejecting anything not alchemy. The other side, the S.O.N.G, are embracing everything and taking bits and pieces of it to make themselves stronger. Interesting. Again, I don't want to go too deep into that, so let's continue. OP, 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 OP. Oh, no longer OP. Ver. This is probably an image generated from your perception of him and other memories. And it's a very accurate image. Particularly this manic face. That's a very accurate. Shouting in the heart of Maria, crazy cool. That's the Dr. Ver we all know and love, isn't it? Your subconscious trying to guide us to the Symphogear part of your brain. That's because Ver knows Symphogear a lot. And of course he goes on and on about how he's a man larger than life, because that's Maria's image of him. Also interesting how even in Maria's mind, sometimes he has this like cool sly look of almost an older Bishonen kind of a main character, and sometimes he's completely manic with veins almost popping on his head. Even in Maria's head, he has some like cool moments to him. She won't admit it, but her subconscious is admitting that. Yeah, Henshin. Fighting the Hydras. I mentioned that during the runtime of this episode, but it's... on one hand, it's not really weird how it's always the people living in a given world, in a given piece of media, have no knowledge of other pieces of media. On one hand, it's kind of understandable because you have to create those surprising situations that probably have occurred in other pieces of media, right? If you were to create a horror story where people who are the heroes of that story have seen horror movies, and they arrive at a house in the middle of the woods, they wouldn't be, oh, let's stop here for a moment and let's rest, let's stay here for the night. They'd be like, fuck no, we're gonna drive all night, but we aren't stopping there. And that's where the movie would have ended. So it makes sense that for example, horror flick heroes have no knowledge of other horror shows, other horror movies, and they always follow the noise. They always have to check what's in the basement. They always split up, right? And it's similar here, where nobody ever seemingly has any concept of what a fucking Hydra is. There's been so many Hydras and Hydra-like creatures in media, and the person fighting them always makes the mistake of not knowing. It's not really a mistake, they just don't know for some reason that a Hydra regenerates itself. It'd be a different situation if this creature looked differently. Like, for example, it looked like this. Without the heads, it's just a floating blob with some white wings on the sides and, you know, something like this. It doesn't look like Hydra. Why would you assume it's going to behave like a Hydra? So splitting it in half and seeing it regenerate is surprising. But it's just a Hydra. It doesn't get any more Hydra-like than this. Again, understandable, because we have to have this moment of, oh shit, it can regenerate itself. On the other, didn't they have any Greek, or was it Roman, ancient mythology in class to learn about Hydras? A minor gripe, really, but, you know, just something that came to my mind. Of course, they're blowing it up and splitting it up, but it splits. Referring to provide backup if needed. That's good. The Air Force would slow us down. Interesting. I kind of missed that. But they do utilize Air Force eventually to send Kirega and Shirabe off into the floating fortress of the alchemists. Okay, request Iruma deploy code 81. You want them to send Harriers. Okay, I somehow missed this conversation. Makes sense. Cool. Show me Chris. Show me Chris. Chris being all cool, riding on the what's it called? Not the tip. Something of the boat. And she's driving with her foot. With her foot. It doesn't get cooler than that. Having this stance, driving with your foot, and how much cooler can Chris possibly get? Whew. I love it. I love it. So, Hibiki punching it causes it to, like, completely wither along some path and not split into multiples. Later, Chris explains or notices that if you blow the whole thing up, then it doesn't have anything to regenerate from, so it just fucking dies. But Hibiki didn't blow it all up. She just punched one of the heads, and yet the head and the neck started to wither. What's more, it's not that the neck crumbled and fell off, it was separated. Before the crumbling, the corruption, let's call it, from Hibiki's punch managed to get any further. So if Hydras are like big lizards, and lizards can sever their tails, maybe this Hydra severed its own head as a means of protecting from that Hibiki's corruption. But what is it? What is that Hibiki's corruption? Is it connected to how she was able to punch that snake across dimensions and just kill it in one punch? Is it connected to how she was able to stop Saint-Germain's bullet? And we know that Saint-Germain's bullets are special. They aren't just bullets, they explode. They're charged with some alchemical energy and explode. It didn't happen. It's almost as if Hibiki was able to cancel whatever alchemy was applied to it. I'm gonna note it down because it seems relevant. Once is a cool moment. Twice makes you think. 3 times, it's probably pretty significant. Let's see. Hibiki can somehow cancel alchemy, and in parenthesis, snake god hydra crumbling Germain's bullet. I wonder, why would it be that she has this ability? I don't know, but it seems like she does have it. Yeah, if you blow it all up, it works. Deeper in Maria's subconscious and all of her darkest secrets, maybe. Stuff that she's been bottling up. I want to be strong. And all those feelings that we got from her, even in previous season already. That she has that desire to be strong and whatnot. Now she seemingly understands that she's weak and embraces that weakness. She's not weak by any means, but like in her mind she's weak. She cannot ever attain the strength she wants, but she embraces her weakness, so it's all good. But deep inside of her mind, those thoughts are still there. And of course, other feelings of broadly defined irrelevancy. If I wanted someone to hold my hand, I had to reach out to them myself. But what if they pushed my hand away? That's a catch-22. It's a catch-22. And I can kind of sort of relate when it comes to, for example, physical contact, right? It's kind of, I mean, she is talking about physical contact, grabbing someone's hand, but you sometimes wanna, I don't know, hug someone because you haven't seen them for a while and you just want to give them a hug. But is it appropriate? What if they push me away? What if they say no? What if? But on the other hand, no one ever gives you hugs. So you're kind of starved for that. So you're trying to reach out, but you're afraid of reaching out. And it's like that with other things. With other things as well. Like, if you're, I don't know, if you're one of the people who always have to reach out to your friends to meet up, and your friends never reach out to you, it seems to be a fairly common thing, from what I heard. And, I mean, even I have, like, 2 friends that will reach out to me to meet up, so I can't really speak much on the topic, or maybe I can speak a lot, but on one hand, you're trying to reach out if you want to meet, but on the other, what if you reach out and they reject you? That's gonna feel bad. It's the same with finding love, finding significant other. What you want someone to reach out to, you want someone to ask you for dating, you want someone to tell you they love you, but nobody does. So you want to try doing that, but what if it doesn't work? What if you sour the relationship you already have? What if they push me away, right? It's being stuck inside of your own head. Being so afraid of failure that you never try. And I can relate to that broad sentiment. Being so afraid of failure that you never try. It's some shit that I've been struggling with for a long time. that's why I haven't started this channel like 2 years earlier than I started it. Because I was like, oh, what if I start doing this and nobody's gonna like it? Or I don't know, they're gonna laugh at my appearance, or they're gonna laugh at my voice, or they're gonna laugh at my choice of anime, or, you know, all sorts of completely baseless things that nonetheless made me afraid of starting. But I did break through that, and I saw that it ain't that scary. People generally seem to like what I'm making, so yeah, being stuck in my own head was doing nobody service. But it's hard to break through that, so I can really relate to Maria. What if they pushed my hand away? And she falls into the darkness of her mind. Punchy, punchy, punch. Yeah, I think it's the first time we see them this exhausted that you can actually see sweat dripping from their faces. I mean, not counting the big boss battles, because those surely were exhausting as well, but this is just the sheer number of the noise. Battle of attrition indeed. Will I drown in the darkness I created and vanish into the abyss? Waking up to Mame. Now's the time for you to serve the facility by shedding blood, not tears. This is interesting. Was it only the fear of Mum I remembered? This is an interesting bit of showing us dealing with grief, dealing with like compartmentalization of your mind, of your memories. If you lose something, it's like a very natural mechanism. You start downplaying the importance of it, right? If you, I don't know, fuck, any example? I'm blanking right now. If you were about to buy something cool on eBay and eventually you were agonizing over it for like a week, and then you go there to buy it and it's no longer there because, oh no, someone bought it, you suddenly start talking to yourself, well, I didn't really need that all that much, it wasn't really that good, I can probably find something similar cheaper, right? You start rationalizing, not even rationalizing, but you start downplaying the importance of that. When you, I don't know, when your significant other leaves you, you eventually, you go through some stages of grief and you eventually arrive at that downplaying stage, right? They weren't all that fun to be around. I didn't love them that much, right? In hindsight, they were always kind of stingy with money, right? It's a natural mechanism. And it's interesting to see that in Maria to this extent, where she only tries to remember the worst about Mama, because then her death doesn't hurt as much. Because if she was a loving, caring mother to them, then it would hurt. If she was a tyrant who was beating them up, then good riddance. Interesting, interesting. I'm gonna have to do some introspect on my next therapy session about how I think about my father. Damn, Symphogear makes me think about things, huh? I sealed away the memory because of the fear and pain. Yeah, that's exactly what Maria did. She remembered the beatings, she didn't remember the sad faces. Although, to be fair, when you beat up your kid and then you act sad, you still beat up your kid. Doesn't make you a good person. So, there is that. Now, thankfully, we see a different bit of Nastasia caring. Right? Oh, proceed with the treatment. Bring him here. We're not gonna leave him to die. So this is like wholly good and wholly moral and wholly altruistic. So she gets a little bit redeemed in ours and Maria's eyes. and hear such harsh words, and then she bites her lip because she doesn't want to say those words, but she must. I don't entirely buy it, honestly. I think there was a different way to go about it, right? Instead of just being a dick to Maria and Selena and everybody involved. But what do I know? Maybe Nastasia didn't see any better way, so she just went with what she thought is gonna work best. And the receptor children who were able to find a brighter future after what happened are now all under protection. Okay, we didn't see that bit. We didn't hear that bit earlier. So that we could live, she kept killing herself little by little. Kinda, sorta, I guess. If you mean like killing herself emotionally and mentally and morally, then yes. I guess you could say that. If what she was doing was directly in the opposition of her morals, but there was a higher goal to that, then yes, you are correct. And of course, the harsher a tomato's environment, the sweeter it grows. Biggest harvests are the ones, yeah. Mom's harshness is what tempered our strength. Why do I get the feeling that the message, maybe it's just my reception of this message, but the message kind of feels to me here like, oh, your parents beating you up for bad grades is going to make you have good grades, and it's actually good for you. Why do I get a feeling this is the message? Especially considering it's Japan. Right? I'm kinda iffy. Like, on the surface, it's a good message, right? You had harsh childhood and it's gonna make you a stronger person. But it's different when you had a harsh childhood because your parents were beating you up. Right? There's a difference between having a harsh childhood because you grew up in a poor house, in a poor household, and you didn't have a lot to eat, and you were wearing used clothes and, you know, stuff like that. It's a different thing where you grew up in a harsh environment because your caretakers created that harsh environment for you. It's, you know, two different things, kind of, in my eyes. Maybe I'm looking too deep into that, I don't know, but probably not the message they wanted to send across, but it can be read as such. It's also a little bit of that, like, not just Christian, but I only have a Christian reference for that because I was brought up Christian. Christian or Catholic? Catholic, I think. Roman Catholic. Yeah, I think that's it. Roman Catholic. Yeah, there's that bit of, you know, the more you suffer on Earth, the more you're gonna get in the afterlife kind of thinking that I don't really subscribe to. That I think it's bullshit, and we don't know if there is an afterlife. So why should I be flogging myself in hopes that when I die it's gonna be fun, if I can just not be flogging myself and have fun now? You know, that kind of thinking. And this very much reads like that. If you get a harsh childhood, then you're gonna be rewarded when you're grown up by being a stronger person. So perhaps my own biases are talking here in me not entirely subscribing to this line of thinking and to the message they're sending here. But yeah, we learn what creates the link between Symphogear, this warm and deep caring for others. Love. Verde did mention love many a times. He was onto something. I thought initially, whenever he mentioned with his crazed face, he said something like "Ay, des," right? It was always, in my eyes, just him being super flamboyant and super like, in the name of love and justice, I will be the hero of the world. You know, that kind of thing. But he was onto something with that. It really puts his whole character and demeanor in the, maybe not completely new light, but it like lights up another LED to change the shade of the color a little. Thanks, Mom. Yeah, here comes the fortress, the flying fortress. There was a cool frame of Saint-Germain. This one. I don't know why, but I love smeared frames of characters. Especially zoomed in smeared frames. You go save Lydian. Interesting how Hibiki is in the shadow of that flying fortress. Make the right choice by yourself, if nothing else. Ignite? No, don't use it. The cavalry's here. Kirika and Shirabe. Let's take a look at her henshin. Because I don't think we've seen her henshin yet in this show. If we have and I forgot, then forgive me, but I don't think you're going to mind us going through this henshin. Yeah, hexagons. I really like in the henshins in this season how those their armor and stuff are kind of created of a physical thing. It's like a hexagon that unfolds and transforms and does the sound from Transformers and just latches itself onto the wrist or somewhere instead of just being a flash of light or a magical ribbon that wraps itself around their body, and the armor is born from that. Now, both are cool, don't get me wrong, but it really gives that bit of... how should I say it? I had a word for it, but I forgot it. That bit of like being able to relate it to real world, that bit of realism, kinda, that you could, realistically or not, create a transforming hexagon that creates a glove, right? You have like Bakugans that a sphere transforms into a creature, so you could very well create a ball or a hexagon that transforms into a glove. It's something that could happen. Glowing yo-yo. Some nice thigh shots, I guess. And yeah, and you can even see the wheel inside of it. That's cool. I didn't notice that initially. But yeah, it really increases the realism of the whole thing. That you see the inner workings, the wheel that pops out seemingly out of the middle of her foot. But no, it's hidden somewhere behind her foot. Somewhere in the... It's called the small of her foot? No, in the arc of her foot. It's hidden somewhere there. It's not growing out of her tibia or anything like that. Her foot is a little bit to the front and the wheel is a little bit to the back. Makes sense. Really grounds the Symphogears. I think that's a good way to phrase it. They're more grounded in reality. Doing some cool yo-yo tricks. I saw Poland's Got Talent today, and there was a dude with a yo-yo, like glowing in the dark with UV lights. That was cool. That was a cool show. Yo-yo shows are great. I can't even like properly have it to bounce back to my hand. Yeah, it's really grounded, really tangible, I guess you could say. Maybe that was the word I was missing. More yo-yo tricks. Communicator. Then the twin tail sleeves. Does her twin tail disappear here? No, it just turns into a singular ribbon. This is interesting though. Usually we see this screen as the weapon is getting assembled. The screen is initially uncovered and then it gets covered by something welded together, welded shut, and the weapon is here. In this case, the screen is covered, it gets uncovered, SGI01 Shulshagana, and then it gets covered back. Buzzsaws, upskirt shot, swinging yo-yos, and here comes Shirabe. And she's swinging her yo-yos around still. Yeah, the amount of like dynamic poses and mock attacks and stuff like that they do in their Symphogears, in their henshins in this season. On one hand, it's cool. On the other, when you're going through it frame by frame, it kind of overstays its welcome. But I don't mind it. When watching it at like normal speed, I don't mind it at all. Genocide on my soul blade, rebirth on the tip of my knife. Genocide and genocide, huh? If you cry, I'll make it more painful. Jesus, have some chill. This. Can you see it? Here. There's subs taken from the top left corner and copied over their screen. It's great. It's great. It's amazing. I love the attention to detail in the Symphogear subs. Now, they disappear a couple of frames late, so, you know, could have been better. But I love what they did here. We have a debt of gratitude to the Iruma units. Yeah. Oxytocin. Is oxytocin an actual thing, I wonder? Gonna Google that real quick. I know oxycontin is. Oxytocin. Oxytocin. Oxytocin is a peptide hormone and neuropeptide normally produced by the hypothalamus and released by the posterior pituitary. It plays a role in social bonding, reproduction, childbirth, and the period after childbirth. It's like a bond hormone. A love hormone. Oh, that's cool. I was fully expecting some complete like bullshit names, bullshit terms, because nobody reads those screens, right? But no. Oxytocin. 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 I guess it's not the same thing. How does the structure look? Yeah, the structure of it looks mostly correct. I'm not gonna analyze the whole, like, carbon chains and whatnot, but yeah, it seems to be oxytocin. Oxytocin. It represents love. Indeed. You're the very worst of the worst, Dr. Ver. I beg to differ. He's the best of the best in my heart, and will forever remain there. Throwing some fireballs. Now, they aren't using their Alka gears, and they're still able to go mostly toe-to-toe with Kirika and Shirabe. There's that one frame of her face that I really liked. Am I gonna be able to find it? And yeah, the power of love, the rainbow. The rainbow that always appears when they power up their attacks somehow. Kirika and Shirabe create, using like a combo attack, gives them so much power it creates rainbows. That's cool. Enough rainbows to just rip through their whole flying fortress. That's an alchemical bullet. We know that it can fly around, not exactly on the straight line, and can explode. Why is Kirika not dodging? I don't know, but she doesn't have to, because Hibiki Ex Machina and the whole alchemy thing fizzles out completely. It's just a regular lead bullet now. Everybody's surprised. It wasn't supposed to happen. It wasn't supposed to happen. Cavalry's here. If it's for the good of the others, then can't we work together? She's correct, but Saint-Germain rejects the very notion. How arrogant. Of course she does. It's the whole shtick. It's their whole shtick. They reject the others. They reject the Symphogear. They reject the help from the song. They reject all of that. They have their own way, and by God, they're gonna stick to it. A lot of sunken cost, I feel. A lot of just being so convinced of the superiority of their ways. With the power of God in our hands, we will tear down the curse of Valhalla. I wonder if this is like another lead towards my theory that I noted down, that they somehow want to make a deity corporeal to enslave it and use its powers. They will try to harness the powers of a god. Which god? I don't know. A god. Somehow. How exactly, we don't know that. But they are going to try to do that. And they will probably succeed. And our S.O.N.G girls are probably going to have to fight a god. Or a super-powered Adam, maybe. Adam turned into a god. God who transferred from whichever god they bring onto this earth and transferred it to Adam. We'll seize the lunar ruins. Dun dun dun. Huh. Now notice. Seize. Not destroy. On one hand, that's a better plan than what Ryoko had. Fine wanted to destroy the moon, but that would create many issues. The moon would fall onto the earth. That would cause issues. Without the moon, we would no longer have ocean tides, right? We wouldn't have that. Without moon, many other things rely on the moonlight and on the moon as the source of gravity in our orbit. So that would fuck many things up, unfortunately. Their plan is better, they want to seize it, but I wonder. Saint-Germain, Cagliostro, and the third one, whose name I forgot, they might want to seize the lunar ruins to stop the curse of Balal. What if Adam wants to use the lunar ruins to make it so that humanity is no longer slaves to the custodians, but slaves to him? Something tells me I might be onto something. Alchemists want ruins to dispel the curse. Adam wants to use them himself. I wonder if that's where we're going. And of course the ending. The ending. Does it have any sort of a translation? There's no like after credits scene. So I think I can safely... Wait, is there no after credits scene? Or did this episode not download properly? 2330. And the length of the file is apparently 2419, but it stops at 23, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. Is it something fucky-wucky with the file? If so, let me know, and if there was an after credit scene, I'm gonna watch it at the beginning of the next episode. Or I'm gonna watch it as a separate video. I don't wanna spend it... Actually, you know what? I do wanna spend the time looking it up. Nope. From the research I've done, it seems there is no after credits scene. Phew, that's good. I thought there's something wrong with the file, but thankfully not. So, with that, one more thing. I wanted to look up the lyrics, so let me do just that real quick. Symphogear AXZ, episode 6, ending song. AXZ episode 6 on Symphogear Wiki. Songs used. Makenai ai ga koko ni aru and Melodious Moonlight. I don't know. Summary plot gallery doesn't interest me. Trivia. Bizarrely, a sign in Maria's flashback to her early FIS days features half-legible lyrics from Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up. Did they really rickroll their viewers? If so, then that's amazing. Can I find the lyrics, though? Come on. Come on, work with me there. Work with me, please. If I can, then I can't, but... ending song. No, I don't see anything about it. Anywhere. Ending song. Lyrics. Axia no Kaze. No, that's not it. Okay, whatever. If you know about those lyrics, then I don't know, link me them on the Discord or something, and I'm gonna talk about them at the beginning of the next episode. But right now, let's not waste any more time and talk about this episode. I did very much enjoy it, if you couldn't tell. It's the high on the timeline of this season. Every season of Symphogear has the lows and the highs. Lows not in enjoyment, not in viewer enjoyment, but lows in how low are the characters brought, right? The pits of despair. And then there are the highs of hope, of you know, of action, kinda, sorta. So we were brought down by the loss of Ignite modules, by the loss of, or rather by the realization, by the fact that there's no more linker. So we were brought down. And now we are back up. We have the linker, right? We have some newfound strength. We have a newfound understanding of Symphogears. Perhaps, even though the alchemists can disable their ignites, perhaps we can work around it somehow. Perhaps if we incorporate lava into the Curse of Dainslife, perhaps if we create some other means of powering up that don't rely on Dainslife, perhaps we are on the high. Kirika and Shiraba are brought back into battle, so is Maria. We now know full well what gives Kirika and Shirabe so much strength that is greater than the sum of their parts. It's love. Their love for each other boosts both of their sync rates and allows them to dish out that much more damage. We now understand why Maria has that bit of a blue boost to her. I mean, we understood it from the previous episode as well. We have much more insight into Maria's life, into Mother, into Ver, even to some degree. And we are back up, but we are going to fall down again, I feel. Perhaps not in the next episode, perhaps in the one after. But if they really want to bring a deity to this world and they want to exploit its powers, that's gonna be interesting. That's gonna be very interesting. Are we going for like Gynax slash Trigger kind of thing, where we're gonna fight a galaxy-sized deity in the finale of the final season? Are we going to go for some more metaphysical themes? Is Hibiki gonna be turned into a deity Madoka style? I'm not excluding that possibility, to be perfectly honest with you. Although Symphogear, despite having all the themes with custodians and deities and spirits and all that supernatural stuff, it's still been fairly grounded in reality. There is some science to the supernatural, right? So unless there's some science to becoming a god, I don't see that happening. Then again, it seems to be the plan of Adam, although I'm using a lot of all those and despites and whatnot. But yeah, although what was I about to say? That it seems to be the goal of Adam becoming a deity, although that is only my inference. That is only what I was able to infer from what we've seen. It isn't necessarily correct. So whether or not it's correct, we'll see. We will see about that. Anything else that needs to be said? Not really, I don't think. Despite this episode being full length and having plenty of stuff in it, it felt fairly short because when you kind of consolidate all those moments, you had a fight and you had a walk through Maria's mind. It kind of felt I don't want to be like, unfair to this show because I see what they were going for here. But it kind of felt like the purpose of this episode was Maria's journey, and they kind of tacked on the battle just to pad the time, just so that the episode isn't 10 minutes long, and just so that it's not just Maria's journey, just her introspection. It did work out. I did enjoy the combat. It was cool to see the henshins. It was great to see the attacks. It was amazing to see Chris sailing on that speedboat like a boss, driving it with her foot. That was amazing. But it still feels to me like they could have just had Maria go through that introspection, and then suddenly the alchemist trio appears. And the combat is mostly inconsequential, the combat with the Hydra. Although, one consequence of that combat is that whole shtick with Hibiki punching it in the head and it not regenerating. The corruption from her punch progressing and the Hydra having to reject its head to save itself. That's significant. I have a feeling it's significant. It might just be a red herring, it might be me reading too much into that, but it feels significant to me. So I guess the battle wasn't wholly inconsequential. Yeah, it was good. I'm just gonna say it was good. I did enjoy myself. I did like it very much, and I can't wait for more. I cannot wait for the future because we are setting up some very interesting things with the godhood, with the god powers, with fighting deities, with Adam potentially trying to become a god, with potential cooperation between S.O.N.G and the alchemists. I still believe, it's still my leading theory, that Adam is going to betray Saint-Germain, Cagliostro, and the other one, and they will join forces with the S.O.N.G against Adam. It will be an epitome of the embracing that the S.O.N.G does, right? They embrace alchemy, and if we it makes sense. It makes so much sense. The message, holding hands, joining together, right? We Symphogear users are weak. We alchemy users are weak. But if we join forces, we can kill God. Is that gonna be it? Is that gonna be it? We're different. We use different technology. We have different system of beliefs. But when we get over that and when we unite, there's nothing we cannot achieve. I have a feeling. Message. If we join in unity, there is nothing we cannot do. Put it in a border, because it seems important. I wonder if I'm onto something. What I do know I'm onto is I'm onto starting another minute after an hour and a half. That's gonna be a long episode. Maybe a bit too much ranting in retrospect, in hindsight, but I had to get all my thoughts out of my system. Oh, this episode was great. Not only on its own merit, but also on the merit of what it sets up. Okay, I'm gonna shut up now. I don't wanna like go half an hour more just talking in circles about the same things. So maybe you can talk a little bit about this episode in the comments down below. What did you think of it? Of my reaction, of my theories? No spoilers, please, I beg of you. I'm having so much fun theorizing, and I have a feeling you have so much fun seeing me theorize, so don't destroy it by posting spoilers, please. If you do want to talk spoilers, though, Discord, it's here, it's also in the description. Join it, there's a Symphogear channel. You can talk about spoilers to your heart's content as long as you spoiler tag them, and there are other gearheads on the channel who also want to talk about it, so talk about it together. Why not? It's the purpose of the Discord, to talk about anime and related media. What's next? Like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, but tell me why so I can improve and what I can improve, and I can improve. My camera and the timer are proofs of that. Subscribe to the channel to be notified of future releases of not only Symphogear but also Gundam Witch from Mercury, Tensei Shitaraken Deshita, Arc Knights, Prelude to Dawn, the management of a novice alchemist, and if I forgot something, Madoka Magical Rebellion. I'm gonna record it sometime in the future. I've been busy with work recently, and the next week is gonna be even harder to me. But I'm gonna record it eventually, I promise. Support the channel if you want monetarily. Patreon Throne, links in the description. On Patreon for $10 a month you get early access to non-seasonals like Symphogear, like Madoka, like other shows, non-seasonals that are gonna be coming in the future. For $1 you get a role on the Discord and a place in the credits, and maybe in the future also picture-in-picture reactions. I haven't had the time to edit anything, but maybe in the future. What's next? On Throne, you can pitch in directly towards my purchase of better lighting, better camera, although a step up from Elgato Facecam is only a DSLR or a mirrorless, so that's that. And if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, share my content, spread the word. It does really help the channel a lot. It helps the channel grow, and the more the channel grows, the more I preferably earn from the channel, and maybe eventually I'm gonna be able to go full-time. That's the dream. That's the goal, and hopefully I'll be able to achieve it one day, in a couple of years, maybe, if everything goes well. But as I said, I'm gonna shut up now. I'm gonna end it, this episode that is. So that's gonna be it from me for today. And as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers. And outro. You can be one of those patrons and show your name on this list, if only such is your desire.